Hello everyone, welcome to Big Gaming. So, what a week in gaming it's been. Xbox prices went up by a lot. Story goes that the reason the prices are going up is mostly due to component problems, which is funny coming from Xbox because they're kind of responsible for the very mess because, they have a massive hand in the AI market as Microsoft and them saying, "Oh yeah, the components are being short supply, so we have to drive up the prices." Is again kind of funny
You
because they're
drove the prices up.
yeah, you were the one who drove the prices up, so I don't know, mate. Anyways, in other news for Xbox, they're also discontinuing the 2 terabyte model for Xbox. So if you like your 2 terabyte disc model, get it while it lasts because they're
Well,
discontinuing production.
I guess everyone's
So
gonna go over to PC or PlayStation Pro.
honestly, after the mess of
you
PlayStation,
you want your two
you're
terabyte? There
right.
you go.
Oh yeah, right. After the mess that is PlayStation, I doubt anyone's particularly
I
looking on
doubt
them.
anybody's looking at any console right now.
No, I mean Nintendo is just
Maybe
doing Nintendo things, so
Nintendo
maybe
is doing what they've been kind of been doing for a
Nintendo's
little bit
Nintendo.
now, but
Yeah, they
eh.
always just do what they want, and people just kind of dance along with it. They have their walled garden. Everyone keeps it that way, and everyone just kind of nods along whenever Nintendo does something. They're kind of like that. That said, PlayStation kind of seems to be going the same route of we're just going to do what we want, and you're just gonna have to deal with it. Don't know if that'll actually work out for them in the long run, but anyways, that's a whole other conversation. We can talk about Bungie and PlayStation, all that mess at some other time. We're letting that shake out a bit more before we cover all that nonsense. But Microsoft, Xbox. So, as I mentioned, the 2 terabyte model of the disc version of the Xbox Series X, still not confusing to say out loud, has been officially discontinued. So if you want it, get it. And these prices go into effect August 1st. Or is it July 1st or August 1st? Excuse me, let me just double check that real quick. Also, you might hear an oven in the background. I'm currently having stuff cooked over on mine, so if you hear a dinging, just ignore that. Anyways, let me see here. It's not this article. Might be this article. I have 2 articles if you're interested, by the way. Link down in the description. One is from Xbox Wire talking about the official releases. Another is from Maple Syrup, which is, I know it's going to sound dumb, obvious, but it's a Canadian journalist site, and they cover the Canadian side of journalism. And I only have that there because being Canadian YouTubers, we also cover the Canadian side of it. So it's just better that they have the prices there for Canadian conversion so you don't have to do the math in your head. But anyways, the prices will come into effect. I believe August 1st. I have to look that up more. Regardless, Xbox 2 terabyte is being discontinued. Again, they expect the prices to go up. And the funniest part is, according to Xbox, they expect the prices to double again by fall 2027. So it's possible these prices are going to go even higher. So, as I think I heard one person say in a comment section related to this, we're very much living in a get it while you can economy because, yeah.
Yeah, get it
As
while
for
you
the
can.
prices, yeah. As for the prices going up, now as we currently sit, the below are the current prices, or below in the article, I should say, was as it currently stands, Xbox Series X digital edition, so terabyte, 1 terabyte, $679.99, again, all Canadian dollars. Xbox Series X 1 terabyte, $729.99. Same console but 2 terabyte, $879.99. The Series S, which if memory serves is just the digital edition. No, not the digital edition. That is the previous generation, I believe. Again, they're never not going to be confusing with the name. Whoever thought the naming in the Xbox department, I just no, no, no. Think of something better. They're confusing to say. Anyways, the current Series S sits at $449.99, and the 1 terabyte Series S, if you still have it, is $529.99. So yeah, the 2 terabyte is sitting just 200 shy of 1,000. So yikes. So yeah, get it while you can. Yes. Oh, by the way, states here August 1st. Yes, I was right. So starting August 1st, these prices will come into effect. So yeah, we are very shy of $200 when it, or $1,000 when it comes to consoles. There's discussion that next generation prices might also be straight up $1,000 or more, considering the insane price increases we're seeing this generation. Again, because of AI and chip shortages, which that cannot end anytime soon, and cannot end soon enough, to be honest.
Hmm.
But I don't know. What do you think, Justin? You think we'll see next generation consoles as
If we
$1,000
do,
units?
if we do, yeah, it's gonna be like 1,000 plus dollars.
That's the thing, right? And that's kind of the funny part. The consoles themselves are actually extremely pricey. Like I said, the current Xbox Series X, the current gen for 2 terabytes, is currently sitting at just a few hundred shy, or hundred and a bit shy of $1,000. Yet that is the console they're discontinuing, which is a funny message to send from Xbox, and we gotta kind of we gotta dissect that a bit more. I'd like to think, because here's the thing, right? They didn't have to discontinue the console. They could have just increased the prices and kept them on the market, and people probably would have bought them. So the fact that they're discontinuing the one that is dangerously close to $1,000 does seem to set the idea in motion, or at least send the suggestion that possibly Xbox themselves also hesitant to price anything around the $1,000 ratio, just generally speaking, right? Like again, to kind of go through another comment section I heard, the idea that once we cross the $1,000 threshold, we're never going back. We're never going to go back previous to lower prices than 1,000. They're just going to keep it there. They might drop a little bit and stabilize, but they're never going to go below 1,000. So it seems like the industry is aware of the fact that 1,000 is the big number that nobody wants to sell a console at. Nobody wants to be the first company to sell a console at that. Maybe we'll see next generation do that. I don't know though, because like I said, it does seem to be that they're sensitive to the enough that they're just going to say we're going to just have the 2 terabytes that are on the line. They're just going to sell, and if you buy them at this massive price, but once they're gone, they're gone. After that, the closest thing you're going to have is the 1 terabyte, which again Canadian is sitting at $729, well, 720, $730 technically. You want to round it up. Not even sure what that's going to do in taxes because 13%. I'm not going to do the math in my head at the moment.
But that's gonna be a
But
fair amount.
suffice, that's going to be a fair amount, at least $1,000 over after tax, honestly. So
Keep that
I
in
don't know.
mind.
Keep that in mind, yeah. But still, also keep in mind that again, by Xbox's own estimations, by 2027, the prices are going to double, more than double by then as well, by fall next year. So again, we might see another price increase on top of this. So as crazy as these prices are, we might see more prices and we might see more price increases still. You could sit there and be a cynic and say, well, of course they're going to say that. That incentivizes the need to buy them right now. They don't actually have to pull that price increase. They just have to threaten the price increase to drive up sales. And yeah, you wouldn't be wrong to say that, but ultimately, I think it's a distinct possibility enough so that even if it is just an empty threat, quote unquote, from Xbox, if you want to call it that, it's at least worth taking seriously because if they do double again in price, we are going to cross the $1,000 mark. And at that point, all bets are off. That said, there is another conversation you can have here with the fact that due to the slower rollout of this current generation, due to scalping early on in the generation and chip shortages, ironically, also causing the early time of the generation to just be a very slow rollout and everything, putting all that together, it seems like this generation might carry on for longer than it was supposed to. I mean, PlayStation, we joked about them earlier. PlayStation PS5s are technically rated to play games at like 4K or 5K. I think 8K. It's been a hot minute since I've checked. I think like 8K gaming is something they support. No one's ever made an 8K game yet, to my knowledge, but they technically support them, according to the old boxes I remember buying and peddling back in the day when I used to work as a sales rep for PlayStation via premium. So
What is that?
there's that. Maybe we'll see further support for the PS5 going into more years than what previous generations have been supported just to compensate for the slower rollout. One way or another, I think it's safe to say, considering the chip shortages at the beginning of the generation and now maybe you want to say near the end of the generation or near the twilight years of the generation, it does seem like this generation is cursed, don't you think? Like,
Mm,
when
that
you
is
put
the
it all
correct
together,
answer.
Like, I don't know if anyone's ever brought it up, but I will say, putting it all together in one basket, it seems like this generation of consoles has just been cursed. From joystick drift being a massive thing this generation, which it was never in previous years. I mean, it was, but never to a degree that became a almost scandalous phenomenon. Started off with the Nintendo Switches and kind of came over to consoles. One of the reasons that those Pro controllers exist, we can swap out the analog sticks to the whole chip shortages at the beginning of the generations, which aggravated scalpers, and scalpers started pulling them up en masse and all that nonsense, which drove up scarcity and made them impossible to get unless you were buying on the second-hand market, which,
That's a whole nother
now,
thing.
that's a whole other thing. And now at the very end, we're having chip shortages for a whole different reason this time, because of the rush to do AI bro stuff, because that's gonna possibly pay out,
AI.
maybe. Yeah, I will say this. I think it's honestly just it's VI. It's honestly just VI. True AI, if you'll forgive me for soapboxing for a hot second, ladies and gentlemen, is a computer program that literally writes its own code. Most quote unquote AI, all AI these days, barring maybe one or two very experimental prototypes that are never going to hit consumer market for Lord knows how long, if ever, hopefully, are just prompt generators. They literally just take gobbledygook that you throw in and just do pattern recognition. That's it. That's all they do. And they basically just aggregate data and then spit something out based on that. So they're not actual AI. They're just souped up VIs, which is a term I'm borrowing from Mass Effect. If you don't know what a VI is, look up Mass Effect. Go play Mass Effect and learn that term. That's a good excuse for you to go play Mass Effect. Go play Mass Effect. It's a good game. Good game series. Anyways, that's kind of where we are with this current generation. Like I said, prices are going up. Things are, maybe we'll get something out of it. Maybe prices will come back down, but honestly, knowing the corporate world, probably not. But you never know. Again, it is funny to see Xbox sitting here saying, "Oh, the chip shortage. I'm sorry, the prices went up," when they're kind of the ones who did
We
it to
did
begin
this
with.
ourselves.
Yeah, they did this themselves. But then again, if you look up Xbox, I believe gaming only makes up like 8% of their total revenues. So eh, maybe the top brass just don't care enough. So I don't know. Maybe taking it out on Xbox proper is inaccurate when it's actually Microsoft who you should be arguing at. Technically, I believe legally they're two distinct entities, despite the fact that one reports to another. So
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe it isn't proper to yell at Xbox for this, just Microsoft in general. But anyways, that's the video. Hope you all enjoyed. We once again managed to drag like 5 minutes of content into like a 12-minute video. What? Yay.
Why not?
Why not? Feed the algorithm. But anyways, that's it for this one, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you all enjoyed. Hope you all have a good one. Tell me down in the comments, what do you think about the price increases? Are you gonna buy a console now? Are you gonna buy a 2 terabyte model while they're still available? Honestly, I would. They're decent enough, and I'll say this as a guy who used to pedal consoles. Buying a disc version is better than a digital version. You actually get to have some level of physical media, which, yeah, for space reasons, not everyone might like, but it provides a lot more tactile ownership than what the alternative is, which is what everyone seems to be wanting to go to, which is you don't own anything and you'll be happy. But hey,
You
that's a whole other
own
conversation.
nothing.
Hey, that's why you go to PC gaming and buy GOG games. But even then, that's not technically, well, at least with Steam, it's not technically ownership. GOG is a bit of a more gray area. That's a whole other video conversation. But
That's a
anyways,
whole nother day.
that's a whole other day. So I hope you all found this informative. Hope you all found this interesting, entertaining, and we'll see you all next week. Bye bye, everybody.
Have a good one.